And yet, for some weird reason, you know, we just ran out of diplomacy. We just ran out of diplomacy this time around, guys. Also, I-24 is reporting that the Iraqi Kurdish forces have invaded Iran, like I said. It's not necessarily just like an Iraqi invasion, Iraqi Kurdish invasion. It's more so that they've already been arming some of the Kurdish militias inside of Iran, but not even like the entire Iranian Kurdish population is invested in this at all. They're not. But they're going to try to make it seem like there is like a ethnic war taking place, and America has no other option but to liberate the Kurds, you know, because they're woke. They're doing imperialism woke style. But we'll get into that in a little bit, obviously. I talked about this for the past week or so, and a lot of people are finally getting their talking points from the State Department so they can come in here and talk to me about how this is actually, we can see more of the desk now, like the Kaya button, this one. Yeah, you got to think about inflation, diplomacy, too expensive these days. Yeah. No, guys, you don't understand. It's time to hear standpoint theory twice in a row. They're going to say, why don't you listen to the Kurds, Hasan? Especially because I'm Turkish, this is like designed perfectly for me. A Rojava advocate, for the record, that was stripped away from the Kurds after all of their fucking loyalty in service of the American State Department, the role that they played combating ISIS, another fucking design of the American State Department. And what did they get for that? Nothing. They got nothing for that. They got Rojava stripped away. They could have had an autonomous Kurdish region in Syria. They literally took that away. And now there's another grouping here where they're like, "Nah, it'll be fine. This time it'll be different." Okay, dude. Sure. As I've told you already, what's most likely going to happen is mass instability. IRGC and all the different forces in the region are going to be fighting. I think their goal is to basically get the IRGC, like goad the IRGC into being super fucking aggressive with the Kurds. And then actually, I'm sorry, but the way you talk about the Kurds is racist, assuming they are dumb and incapable of making strategic decisions in critical times. No matter the ideology you are, the same it comes with the Kurds. Yes, I'm being an anti-Kurd racist. That's what it is. You're right. You got me. No, actually, I'm being an anti-Kurd racist if I don't let America and Israel deploy Kurds alongside special forces with air cover to a fucking sovereign country with the express purpose of destabilizing them and collapsing the fucking state to create a failed state. You're right. I don't give a fuck if you're Kurdish. Shut the fuck up. Every fucking day with these people. Holy shit. I talk about Cuba. Motherfuckers are like, well, I'm Cuban. Have you thought about communism? I'm Cuban. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Stop tuning in from Langley. I'm done. I'm speaking over diaspora voices, okay? I'm speaking over voices. There's no bodies in spaces happening. I'm speaking over your voice, okay? If you came in here and you were like, actually, I'm Palestinian and I think, you know, Hamas is the real problem, not Israel, I would go, shut the fuck up. And it's the same principle here. You said you're in a good mood. I am in a good mood, but I knew it was going to fucking turn into a bad mood, okay? I'm in support of Kurdish autonomy. I'm in support of Rojava. I've literally interviewed people who have gone there and fought alongside the Kurdish militias in Rojava and the American State Department. One of my very close friends, one of my very good friends, Brace Belden, literally did the shit, okay? He is that dude. The idea that, like, I'm not in support of Kurdish autonomy is so fucking idiotic, okay? Shut the fuck up. Look what that got the Kurds in Syria. Hey, Hasan, do you believe this? Idiot, you are spiritually Israeli, but Turk. You are such fucking Turkish nationalist freak. Holy fuck, bitch, Turkish nationalist fuck. You are exactly like the Israeli libs. You are the equivalent to an Israeli lib. Yes, I am the equivalent to an Israeli liberal because I don't want Israel to fucking collapse the Iranian state. Shut up, bitch. That's so crazy. You said, I'm like Israel. Bitch, the guys are literally being armed by Israel. The people you're defending are being armed by Israel and working at the behest of Israeli policy. What are you saying? You can't do that shit here. You can't pull a, oh, you're Turkish, you're doing Turkish nationalism to me. What the fuck? Wait, Brace was actually fighting in the shit? I thought he was joking. No, dude, of course he was. What are you talking about? Yes. Working for Israel and the CIA, it don't work anymore. Trump admitted his plans. Yeah. Mossad, trying to get a rise out of you so you don't cover the news, bro? No. It's becoming increasingly clear that Iran is not lying about the targets. Satellite imagery suggests that a fire broke out near the communications headquarters of the new U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer after it was attacked by Iran. We would need to see higher quality imagery before making a better assessment, though. Oh, my God. Maybe they're not lying. Yeah, by the way, once again, we got listen to Kurdish voices, except there's Kurdish voices that are saying, we're out of this one. We're staying out of this. PJAC statement on Iran-Israel war, a conflict of power interest, not a war of liberation. The Free Life Party of Kurdistan, PJAC, released an official statement declaring the ongoing war between the Islamic Republic of Iran and Israel is not a struggle for liberation, but rather a conflict rooted in the power struggles and competing interests of global forces. The party condemned both Israel's heavy strikes on Iran's military and command centers and the Islamic Republic's retaliatory actions, describing the confrontation as a consequence of Tehran's oppressive. Like, they're probably at the end of the day going to probably lean into the other side. The Israeli side, and I don't know where they fall on this one, okay? Because there are, this was from last year's, I think it was like from 12-Day War, right? Or even before then. Slow the fuck down, speed reader, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I don't know why we're immediately going into the Kurdish conversation. The U.S. literally gave them the green light to Jalani and Erdogan to release the same ISIS prisoners to genocide the Kurds in Rojava. It's the Islamic Republic's fault, the Kurds and other ethnic minorities especially, but all Iranians so malleable to Western imperialist propaganda. I mean, there are a lot of Iranians that are on that fucking timeline. There are a lot of Iranians who are even inside of Iran still totally frustrated with the IRGC, frustrated with the Ayatollah, and think that like America is going to be their salvation. Okay. Having said that, if we're looking at a game of numbers, there's not a significant enough number of those Iranians to actually spark a real popular revolution. And the reason why, I mean, the proof is this. The proof is literally right here. If they had enough numbers and enough motion and enough momentum to actually spark a popular revolution in the country, America wouldn't be trying to game the fucking system this way. So the very fact that they're trying to game the system this way by first 4 months leading up to, even before the IRGC violently suppressed the protests that took place in Iran, they were fucking arming the Kurdish militias inside of Iran. That's just true. And Israel openly admits that, except, oh, I guess I'm being an ethnic chauvinist. I'm being a Turkish ultra-nationalist, right? They were doing that already for months. I saw reports of formation of Kurdish militias in Iraq getting ready, gearing up on the border. Even in the last 12-day war, Israel's been trying to do this since the last 12-day war. This has been their design. And the reason why they want to do it is because they don't have the real fucking popular base inside of the country. If they did, they wouldn't have to do this. They're going to bring in special forces alongside some, Kurdish brigades from Iraq, and they're going to try to fucking push your U.S. citizenship is at risk. Wait, why? What? No, it's not. I'm a American-born citizen, man. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, Kurdish language specialist with TSC, SCI clearance started going up last week across major defense contractors. I remember seeing reports of militias getting arms during the 12-day war as well. Then there was a drive-by assassination of the police chief by Kurdish militants during the mass uprisings that took place. Like, it's like, what more do you want to hear? Like, Israel is openly fucking saying it out loud, and you guys are still acting as though this is not the design here, you know? Kurdish forces in Iraq have launched a ground military offensive into Iran against the Islamic regime, an Iranian Kurdish official tells I-24 News. According to the official, thousands of Kurdish fighters began taking combat positions inside Iranian territory on Monday, March 2nd. I personally suspect that the reason why they're doing this, is because they want to throw as many bodies as possible, and they want to create discontent, anger, and frustration within the Kurdish population, because the IRGC is going to come back and then turn around and fucking start pummeling Kurdish Iranians, okay? Because they're not going to be able to control it. They're going to think, oh, every Kurdish Iranian is now an op. And that's the reason why this stuff leaked ahead of time. That's my suspicion. That's Matthew Petty's analysis as well. Everyone I know who's actually based in Iraqi Kurdistan is extremely skeptical about this planned Kurdish uprising in Iran. What I suspect is going to happen, and this is not based on any sources, is an attempt to put the Kurdish veneer on a U.S. special operation into Iran. I think that's what it is. I think they're going to bring in special forces units quietly alongside the Iraqi Kurds, okay? While simultaneously, they're going to be like, see, the Kurds are rising up. The Kurds are rising up. The Kurds are rising up. And I think they want the Iranian government to take a heavy-handed approach, because this kind of stuff this kind of clandestine operation is not revealed on fucking CNN a week before it happens. Okay? These guys don't do the Babe Ruth shit where they literally go, this is the way we're going to fuck up Iran, unless their goal is basically to frustrate and put the Iranian government and its military in a paranoid state where they take a heavy-handed approach to dealing with any sort of ethnic uprising amidst, like, you know, ongoing bombing campaigns. And then when that happens, they film the entire process and they turn around and say, see, look how fucking ruthless these guys are. Now we're going to send in the American ground troops to protect the Kurdish and all of the other, like, Iranian population that hate the IRGC. They're going to welcome us as liberators. That's what I think is happening here. They're throwing bodies into the fucking meat grinder, and then it gives them enough time to potentially potentially bring actual ground units into the region. And then it justifies, like, even further intervention. The Kurds are going to get American and Israeli aerial support in the actions, as they've said, or at least they've demanded American and Israeli air cover. They want a no-fly zone over Kurdish territory, which is fucking crazy. They want to create a no-fly zone on Iranian territory.
Sources now telling CNN the CIA is working to arm and assist Kurdish forces. The goal, we are told, is to fuel a popular uprising against the regime inside.
Yeah, the Kurds will conquer Iran for America. We will have greater Kurdistan, and it will be a vibrant, pluralistic, cosmopolitan democracy, not a sectarian hellhole. Which, by the way, the closest achievement to that was Rojava. And look what happened to Rojava. The Turkish government is never going to fucking allow that. They are also going to eat a piece of Iran at that point if things completely collapse. Like I said, America's going to go in. America's going to go in and go, all right, Turks, get at it. It's fine. It's, you know, their money is your money. Go ahead. Go bomb the fucking Kurdish villages with artillery, with drones, with tanks. Roll over, create a fucking barrier between the Turkish border and the Iranian border, and take up some of this Iranian territory. It's all good by us. And then Israel's going to turn around and say, I don't like that. I don't want Turkey to do that, as a matter of fact. That's really fucking bullshit. You better back away. And then Israel and Turkey are going to fucking go into conflict. This is the next 5 years happening, unfolding in front of our eyes right now. And then we'll see if you know, the Zog is a theory or actually a fundamental plank of American foreign policy making, because at that point going into direct battle. Israel's going into direct battle with a fucking active NATO country, the second largest standing military in NATO. They say America doesn't have 5-year plans. America does not have 5-year plans. You know who has 5-year plans? Israel. But all of those plans are just haphazardly put together, and it's all death and destruction and all destabilization all the time.
Iran. CNN's chief international correspondent Clarissa Ward is joining us live from Erbil, Iraq right now. Clarissa, you've been in Iraq now for a few days. What can you tell us?
Well, that's right, Wolf. We are now learning from a senior official here in Iraqi Kurdistan that this CIA operation to support these Iranian Kurdish forces has been going on now for a few months. We spoke to a senior leader with the Iranian Kurdish militia groups yesterday who told us that they believe they are going to be participating in a ground offensive into Iran in the coming days, and that they are going to be doing it with the support of the U.S. and of Israel, though he would not say what exactly that support will look like.
They already have a long-standing, look, the American media already has pre-written talking points for this kind of shit because they have utilized the Kurds in this way over and over again in the region, and sold them on a lie, said that they were going to get autonomy, and then they fucked them over later down the line. And so they already have all the fucking articles. They're pre-written. I've told you what the headlines are going to look like. Oh, the Peshmerga. Oh, the female, fighting brigade. They're all so woke. They're wokely taking over Iran in service of Israel's ambitions of destabilizing Iran. Now, the problem here is, for at least America, Kurds are not fully on board with this. KRG official to CNN says CIA support for the Iranian Kurdish groups began a few months ago. It's very dangerous, but what can we do? We cannot stand against the U.S., which is wishy-washy, but they're basically trying to say, oh, we're small bean. We have to do that. The Kurds are woke in a conservative region. See, people are already doing it. People are already doing it. They're already doing it. All the fucking anarchists, State Department employees in my chat have already started. They've already started. They're woke. They got women. They got armed women, dude. They're woke. Why don't you like them? They're supposed to be communists, right? Well, because the last time I supported this shit, look what happened. You're I'm giving you the pre-talking points ahead of time. I'm pre-cogging the talking points ahead of time, and people are already falling for it ahead of time before the American government does the propaganda. It's awesome. I like that. We're in a fucking time chamber where we just are forced to repeat the same shit over and over again until basically the entire fucking region is nuked by Israel. That's it. That's just only after that can we all be comfortable and never have to think about this ever again. Never have to talk about the same shit ever again. Yeah, are they gonna help Israel make the genocide woke? Yes. It's unbelievable how haphazardly put together this is, and how they're basically fucking promoting it ahead of time, calling the shots ahead of time that they're gonna do this. And there are still dumb motherfuckers who are like, well, they're small bean, dude. They're small bean. They have to get funded by Israel and America. Because they're small bean.
He said that President Trump himself had actually called the leader of one of these Iranian Kurdish opposition groups. And as if in response to this reporting, Wolf, this morning, the Iranians hit one of those Iranian Kurdish militia bases with a missile. This is the first time we're seeing them use a missile. They've used drones to attack these bases in the last couple of days, but this was a missile. At least one Peshmerga.
Of course, famously, Turk bombs Kurdish villages. All monolith entities, PKK, PJAK, Dem Party, Kurds in government, majority Kurdish population votes for AKP. I guess easy to make this case to Americans like this. Yeah, also, obviously, Kurds are not a fucking monolith anyway. And it's ridiculous. Even the Dem Party actually came out and spoke out against this as well. So, obviously, the Kurds in Turkey are some of them might like this. Some of them might not like this. I think Erdogan even released got Abdullah Öcalan to Apo to release a fucking statement being don't do this shit, don't do this shit. But I don't think Kurds are all of the same mindset here. it's just
The fighter.
Yeah, you got the Azeri Turks as well, potentially also maybe getting armed, but we don't know.
Was killed. And there is now very real fear here in Iraqi Kurdistan with the leadership that Iran could launch massive retaliatory strikes if this ground offensive goes ahead. The leader here who I spoke to said that the Iranians had warned Iraqi Kurdistan just a few days ago that if a single Iranian Kurdish fighter crosses that border, there will be hell to pay. He also said that one of the issues they have here in Iraqi Kurdistan, even though they have a very good relationship with the U.S., even though they have very little love for their neighbors in Iran, is that they feel the U.S. policy or the strategic objective.
I thought the Azeris were pretty thoroughly integrated into Iranian society. Well, Ali Khamenei is Azeri, is of Azeri descent. So yes, of course they're fucking pretty well integrated into Iranian society. Iranian Jews are pretty well integrated into Iranian society. Iranian Kurds are pretty well integrated into Iranian society by and large. The difference here, of course, is that you can still find elements within Iranian society that are invested in, you know, building an autonomous region or invested in fucking shit up, pissed off at the IRGC because the IRGC maybe arrested one of their friends. You know what I mean? Hamenei Meştedili değil mi ya? Ben Azeri zannediyordum ama belki de değildir. Azeri Türk olması lazım değil mi? Yoksa herkes Türk diyorum amına koyayım. Vallahi adamlar doğru. Panturanist olduk vallahi. Hamenei yarı Türk. Evet. Tamam işte. Türk'üz çığırırız. Yeah. There's a massive Azeri population. There's a big Azeri population, Turkish population in Iran as well. Like it is a very diverse population, okay? And a very diverse population can be fine, right? A very diverse population can be fine. This is a joke, chatters. Are you kidding me? I texted this to Ryan and Jeremy. Don't use this on. He said the USA would have just as bad as under Harris. Please be better. He also supports terrorists. Brother, you're talking to Drop Site News. Anyway. Where the fuck were we? Let's continue.
This war keeps changing. This source told me one day President Trump says it's regime change. One day he says something completely different. And so they have a really strong concern that among this shifting policy, they could effectively end up getting thrown under the bus, so to speak. And it's important to remember, and I know it gets confusing, well, for our viewers, that there's a difference between the Iraqi Kurdish leadership here in Iraqi Kurdistan and the Iranian Kurdish forces who are being supported by the CIA with the goal of going into Iran and launching some kind of an offensive that they are hoping could foment stability and unrest. And the Iraqi...
The way that the Kurds could get thrown under the bus in this operation could literally be instantaneous, okay? They could just as well accidentally fucking bomb Kurdish positions with Israeli munitions and American munitions and then turn around and go, oopsie, maybe it was the Iranians that did that. You know what I mean? The opportunities here are fucking endless. The goal here is destabilization because they don't have the popular base to actually create instability in the country because there isn't like actual militancy that is armed and ready to go and angry to that degree with the government or at least like has the foresight to recognize that if right now they went up against the state and like tried to overthrow it in bloody rebellion, even though they don't have the organizational tools beyond like what Mossad and the CIA has been doing inside of the fucking country, if they like beyond this AstroTurf CIA-backed, Mossad-backed movement, they don't really have a lot of like popular support. They don't have a popular base in the same way that they did during the Islamic Revolution initially, okay? Because while things are bad, it hasn't gotten to a degree where people are like, we need to build cells and we need to go up against the government and we need to do a popular revolution. This is precisely the reason why Israel is trying to develop a popular revolution, okay? And it's not just my assessment. The Israeli media is openly fucking talking about it. The American media is openly talking about it. It's fucking crazy. Israel Hayom reports that U.S. and Israel are arming Kurds in the northwest, Baluchis in the southeast, another group that I talked about. Remember when I said Balochistan independence movement will also be utilized inside of Iran as well? And Sunni Arabs in the southwest in order to sow chaos in Iran. Oh my God. Oh my God. I fucking told you. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Even before America and Israel started bombing Iran, I told you that they are going to beef up ethnic tensions to the best of their ability to collapse the fucking state. And now, after I fucking told you all this shit for the last couple of weeks, guess what? I told you all this shit for the past couple of weeks. Now people are going to get their talking points from the fucking news and then come in here and be like, well, I guess you don't care about the Balochistan independence movement. I guess you don't care about the Kurds. Classic Turkish nationalist. Ah! As a part of these contacts, American officials have been holding talks with Kurdish leaders in northern Iran and Iraq, with Baluchi militia leaders in southeastern Iran, and with additional opposition groups. According to the reports, the goal is to prepare all these factions for the decisive day when, following the degradation of regime forces, chiefly the IRGC, the desired change will take place. The U.S. and Israel are seeking a full replacement of the regime, with the various groups expected to join what is anticipated to be an internal armed confrontation. I'm telling you right now, this plan is going to fuck up the entire world, okay? It's going to fuck up the entire region, and it's going to fuck up the entire world. I am offering my full and unconditional support to the Iranian government, at least in the fucking interim, to make sure that they keep the country intact. Because if this Israeli plan actually is followed through on, if this Israeli plan is it comes to fruition, which it clearly is going to, because America is not going to stop Israel at all, okay? It is going to create a refugee crisis that you have not even comprehended, okay? This is an unforeseeable destabilization initiative for a country with 93 million fucking people in it. What the fuck? You are going to see tens of millions of people try to escape Iran in the conflict, in the fucking war that takes place. They're going to present it as a civil war, real popular uprisings happening all over the place simultaneously. Oh, it's not about regime change even. It's not even about like actually building a new design for Iranian society. Liberal Iranians who fucking hate the IRGC need to wake up to this reality. Your country is gone. Thousands of years of history and shared culture perishes overnight in the hands of the Amer-Israeli imperialist endeavors. How do you not see it? I can't believe that this has happened so many fucking times and people still go, oh, it'll be better. This time it'll be different. You told us Iran will be able to deter the U.S. by attacking their base in Israel. No, Iran already has. As far as state versus state conflict here, Iran is, in the past 5 days, Iran has basically shown every other great power in the world, every other regional power in the world, that America is a little bit of a paper tiger. America is not capable of defending its assets. America is not capable of defending its quote-unquote allies. The only ally America cares about is Israel, and even then they're not doing a great enough job defending Israel, even though they've deployed almost all of their fucking naval assets to defend Israel, okay? And all they can show for it is, oh, we struck down a couple fucking, a couple autonomous launchers, a couple drone strikes on fucking targets that were painted onto the goddamn ground, like helicopters painted onto the ground that the drones think are actual real helicopters. And they sunk like 3 naval assets of the Iranian Navy on the coastline of Sri Lanka, as though that's somehow accomplishing the fucking goals. What they want to do is stop the missiles from pummeling the Gulf region and pummeling Israel. And they haven't been able to achieve that in a successful manner. From conversations With people in Tehran, I sense that the patience with the strikes is wearing thin. There was initial excitement after Khamenei was killed and hope that the regime will fall quickly. Now people have not been able to sleep for several nights, and the fatigue of war is setting in. They're also shocked by the scale of the destruction. Most government buildings are in ruin. They also fear about the unknown future. One person told me that the courthouse where they had filed a personal lawsuit had been blown. Several people who had planned to stay are now considering leaving the city. Iran is such a fucking beautiful country, dude. It is unbearable to watch this much culture, this much history get fucking destroyed with vulgar American and Israeli weapons. We have no care or consideration for the world. We are such a malign, malignant, cancerous force on this fucking planet. God damn it, dude. It is disgusting. These are real human beings whose lives we're fucking destroying so that Israel can feel safe doing the greater Israeli project without any sort of regional pushback whatsoever. It blows my fucking mind. But as far as like a real blow that Iran has been able to deal to American empire, it basically showed China that, like, let me tell you something, okay? If China wants to right now, they could go and fucking take over the Philippines. Straight up. They could take over South Korea. They could take over the fucking Philippines. Any kind of like regional proxy war that America engages with China is over. It's a fucking wrap. I'm not saying that they have this kind of imperialist ambition regardless, but basically, if you understand anything from what has taken place, it is America's inability to defend its own radar installations, America's inability to defend its own supposedly quote-unquote ally nations. They're literally taking THAAD missiles, THAAD missile defense systems away from South Korea right now and trying to hastily ship them to the motherfucking Gulf. Not even the Gulf necessarily, to Israel, because they can't stop the Iranian missiles from penetrating the fucking Israeli defenses. There's obviously an escalation ladder here where the last step of the fucking equation is nukes. Either we de-escalate or they escalate it to the maximum degree. It's unbearable. All right, give me a fucking link for Trump Live. I'll tune into the disgusting pedophile president gleefully talking about destroying an entire fucking country.
Get a big piece of that, and will also make life wonderful for the people of Venezuela who have been very, very badly hit. So that's a lot said in a short period of time, but you can witness it for yourself. And now we'll get on to something that I'm very proud of, because it was sort of my idea, like
very much so.
Build your own power plant. And everybody thought I was kidding. They said, really, you can do that? How would you do that? I said, we'll get you fast permits, and you'll build your own plants, but we're going to discuss it in great detail with the biggest people in the industry and some of our great leaders and senators. And congratulations on the Medal of Honor for your 100-year soldier. You know, 100 years old, 101 to be exact. And Daryl's been fighting that he get the Congressional Medal of Honor for many years, Daryl, right?
Mr. President, I give you all the credit for overcoming.
We're ruled by pedophilic monsters.
The lawyers in the Department of the Navy in a way that I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And well, nobody could have done it but you.
Maybe it'll be a long. We had to get it to him a little bit quickly, but he looks like he's in good shape. He's got some years left, right?
He's planning to come back here for your next Medal of Honor ceremony. And, he's also going to be the star at Tailhook this summer if you want to come to Reno.
Well, I congratulate you for that success. That was amazing. He didn't stop. I've known him a long time. He never stops. So congratulations. It's very nice. We're here this afternoon for a historic signing that will help keep down utility bills very, very substantially, and electricity prices for millions of Americans, and in many cases for a lot of people that don't really understand why they're going up, but they're not going to be going up. They're going to be actually going down. Today we followed through on an announcement I made in my State of the Union address last week as America's largest tech companies officially signed the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. It's a big deal. It's going to have a tremendous impact on electricity costs. We're bringing down all of the costs. We have this little interlude to do what we have to do. because we had it going. But these interludes are very important, especially this one. But the economy has never been like this. We broke 50,000 on the Dow. People thought we wouldn't do that within the first 4 years. We did it in the first year. And we brought 7 on the S&P, 7,000 on the S&P. They said that's even less likely to happen. And we did that too, all within the first year. Under this new agreement, big tech companies are committing to fully cover the cost of increased electricity production required for AI data centers. And that would be prices for American communities will not go up, but in many cases will actually come down and very substantially. Because, you know, the data centers, and you people are so big, you're the biggest in the world, but they've developed a little bit of a bad public, they need some PR help, because people think that if a data center goes in, their electricity prices are going to go up, and that's not happening.
The
it's
data
not going to
centers,
happen. And
people don't like them.
For the areas where it did happen, it won't happen anymore, because they never had this alternative. It's actually going to mean the prices come down. You're going to see how badly they want. Some centers were rejected by communities for that, and now I think it's going to be just the opposite. This means that the tech companies and the data centers will be able to get the electricity they need, all without driving up electricity costs for consumers. This is a historic win for countless American families, and will also make our electricity grid stronger and more resilient than ever before. So that's part of it. It's going to be strengthened up. And they're going to be getting a lot of excess electricity from the data centers where they build their own plants. They're going to be creating their own electricity. We're pleased to be joined today by Speaker Mike Johnson, who's got a difficult job, but he does it as easy as anybody I've ever seen do that job. It's never easy when you have a majority of 2, or sometimes less. Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes less. But he's amazing. And Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who's worked so hard, and Senators Katie Britt, Bernie Moreno.
Do you think Peter
John
Thiel's behind
Husted.
this greatest country practice? Because he's behind a lot of terrible things. Hella connections to Trump. No, this is Israel's design, dude. There is no...
Thank you both. And Derek, thank you. Nice to see you.
This is... What the fuck is this?
OSTP Director Michael Kratzios.
Why are you sending this to me?
AI and crypto czar
This is what he said in the beginning? Here, let's see what he fucking said in the beginning. President Trump just now on Iran, if we didn't hit it within 2 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. Oh my God. No one even believes it. Not only does no one believe it, but also their heart's not even in it. Their heart's not even fucking in it. They just don't care. They don't care. What is this? This is a huge story I've barely seen covered. Everyone talking about economic damage via energy is deterrent, but holy shit, tech is expensive. Tens of billions of dollars. They spent $500 billion building a plan to keep chips away from China. Nobody spent $1 on a plan to keep missiles away from the chips. What? I don't know what that is. It's a fun soundboard thing. Come on, man. The world is fucking collapsing right now. Let me lock the fuck in real quick, okay? Let me log in real quick. We got so much shit going on. A federal government contractor for the defense, for the Department of War at Dover Air Force Base, DE, has posted to Indeed.com seeking multiple part-time on-call personnel effects specialists. The position will support, receive, safeguard, inventory, store, process, and make final disposition of personal effects of military and civilian casualties from overseas. This position appeared on site within the last 7 days. What the fuck? They didn't have this already? They needed it. Dude, the number of casualties is far greater. Not for active duty personnel and like reservists. You can't really hide those deaths. But defense contractors. America, war has changed quite a bit. Even from the global war on terror era. Okay, it's changed quite a bit. Right now, America utilizes defense contractors quite a bit. There's also forces there that are in the CIA, you know what I mean? Like they're on the State Department side, and when they die, you won't hear about it. And I think they're probably melting a lot of defense contractors without, and you don't get to hear about it at all. Instead of like active duty reservists, because the active duty reservist protocol for informing like next of kin is intact. I don't think they can as far as I understand, I don't think they can hide those as well or as easily. I'm sure if there's like a special circumstance, if there's like an entire like naval asset that burned or something, they can try and hide it to the best of their ability in order to withstand the PR shock that will come as a consequence of that. But they can and do, with regular frequency, hide the total number of casualties and the total number of deaths when it comes down to contractors that they deploy in the region. So if there's like a lot of these at these bases, if you have, I mean, there are chatters in here who might even literally be at the bases right now. There are chatters in here who, well, you probably can't watch right now if you're literally in the Gulf. I suspect that they don't let you watch or use your phone any longer. I think I saw the CENTCOM notification that said don't use your apps at all. But if you've ever been stationed in one of these bases, you can tell me if that's the case or not. But I'm pretty sure. I suspect that like some of the guys that they're some of the people that may or may not have been killed is they're if they're defense contractors, like we will not hear about it. U.S. contractors in Kuwait decry meager bunkers and pay cuts amid Iran war were treated as expendable. Employees say they've heard little from major defense contractor V2X Inc. about safety and evacuation protocols. Yeah, they are expendable. Why doesn't China use this to crack down on Taiwan out of American influence? I don't want to get into China right now.
All humanity.
The American people deserve to know what's going on, what kind of conduct their government is doing, how their government is abusing their money, their tax money, their image in the Middle East, in the Islamic world, just in furtherance of the whims of Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah. I don't think these guys understand. I can watch it from Saudi Arabia, but I live and work here, not military. Yeah, no, I'm saying if you're a military, if you're in the military right now, if you're active duty and you're in the Gulf, they don't want you to use, I saw the CENTCOM notification. They don't want you to use, a lot of phone applications because they suspect that either China or Iran is using that for targeting. And that's the reason why they have these drone strikes that take place on civilian properties like hotels and apartment complexes where like, why the fuck are they hitting these hotels? Why the fuck are they hitting these apartment complexes? It's because there's assets. And CENTCOM thinks that the way that they're finding the strike targets is the phone applications that people are using. Yeah, it's the same as don't smoke at night back in the day. Yeah, pretty much. What is this? Eyes on Azerbaijan and Armenia. Azerbaijan has become an eager proxy to Trump and Netanyahu axis. That's true. The role remind us what the stake of the U.S.-Israeli war in Iran are. Always and already regional with lethal consequences for Armenians too. Oh, yeah. I got a buddy who works as a defense contractor who was offered $170K to go to Cyprus by the end of the month, not including per diem. Anyway, my cousin's boyfriend was stationed in London past 2 years. On the 25th, they deployed him to an unknown location, told him to stop using apps. My cousin talked to him on Friday the 27th, but hasn't since. He's an engineer, and she thinks he's in Israel or somewhere with a desert climate because he sent her a Snapchat, but hasn't been on since. He sent a fucking Snapchat. God, the American military is so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Same with the Israeli military. We're so comfortable. We here in the Western world, in the heart of empire, are so used to our fucking treats. We have no OPSEC. We have no OPSEC whatsoever. That's why all the fucking Israeli occupational forces, the neo-Nazis were like filming themselves doing war crimes over and over again because they were like, oh, this is great. This will look so good on my social media. Yes, I love Israel. I love doing war crimes against Hamas. No fucking OPSEC whatsoever. Anyway, I'm all over the place right now. I talked about my suspicions of like defense contractors possibly getting smoked with some of these drone strikes. I assume that is like a real point of concern. But yeah, I think the numbers are probably a lot higher when you calculate the total number of casualties. When you look at the actual defense contractors have probably also been killed.
It's not. And here's the other thing. You'll have your approvals within 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, this motherfucker's still talking about all this other shit like energy deals and whatnot. But we are going to get back to Iran. What the goals are. What the ambition is, who we're doing this for, and what the clandestine operations are on the ground. As I showed you, Israel itself has openly revealed that their goal here is to create as much chaos as possible against the Revolutionary Guards and utilize the existing ethnic tensions to foment like some kind of to basically create chaos in the country, right? If you get the IRGC's ground units to move around, because on the one hand, you got to squash a rebellion that's taking place over there with like the Balochistan separatist movement. On the other hand, you got to, go to like the Kurdish ethnic enclaves and stamp out protests and discontent and like actual fucking, it's not even like a protest at that point. It's just like straight up warfare. Especially when these guys are gearing up, tuning up the IRGC to react with, to react against what these guys are doing is objectively terrorism at that point, right? In that predicament, you have the military's existing units spread out to the best of your ability, and it makes it, I guess, easier for American troops to eventually come in if they were to do like a landing operation, which again, very limited options as far as where they could invade Iran from, with where they can create like a supply line, because Iran, as I've shown you before, if you look at a fucking topographical map, is surrounded basically 3 parts by mountains. Okay. So they're going to try to divide the IRGC. They're going to try to divide the forces if there is actually additional boots on the ground participation from American units. Let me tell you who's not going to be on there. Let me tell you what boots are not going to touch Iranian soil. Israeli boots. Just so we're clear. It will be American boots. It'll be your neighbors that go and fight and die in the Iranian mountainside for Israel. It will not be Israeli boots that touch the soil. Make no fucking mistake. Okay? Israel, small country. Israel, too small. Israel, tiny nation, size of New Jersey. No politic here. No politic, I say. You know? A coalition of the willing. But that's what this is. That's what's going on. That's what they're gearing up for. You know, it's pretty crazy how open the American media is in their coverage so far as well. Like, hey, Kurds, sorry, we just handed you over to the Syrian government after years of successful cooperation. Would you like to repeat the same thing in Iran, but faster? One person familiar with the discussion, this is on CNN. One person familiar with the discussion said that the idea would be for Kurdish armed forces to take on Iranian security forces and pin them down to make it easier for unarmed Iranians in major cities to turn out without getting massacred again, as they were during the unrest in January. Another U.S. official said the Kurds could help sow chaos in the region and stretch the Iranian regime's military resources thin. When I say it, people go, Hasan, you're an ethnic supremacist. You're a Turk. Of course you hate the Kurds. But CNN is literally writing verbatim what the design is here. Okay? It's It's very clear. And to the Iranians that are, you know, to the Iranians in the diaspora who want to make sense of this, or maybe they want to hear from an opposing perspective, and they're getting really mad at me, and they think, Hasan, you don't understand. Like, we love Israeli bombs or whatever. I want my grandparents to die because as long as like we can have a free and liberal Iran, I need you to understand, you are not going to have a free and liberal Iran. You are just not going to have an Iran at all. Okay. You are not different, okay? You are not different than the Iraqis. You are not different than the Libyans. You are not different than the Afghan population. I know you think you are. It's a very well-educated populace, okay? I know you think that you can overcome this. You can't, because at the end of the day, when a fucking American bomb is flying overhead, it's going to destroy your home. It's going to kill you. It's going to kill your children. It's going to kill your neighbors. Okay? It doesn't matter how big brained you are. It doesn't matter how invested in liberalism you are. America and Israel's designs for your country is not that. Okay? So if you have any suspicion in your heart that America and Israel actually want to liberalize Iran and create a liberal secular democracy in Iran, drop it now. Okay? They are not invested in this at all. And I know it feels crazy for a guy living in the imperial core, living in the United States of America. Oh, classic commie. He just loves the IRGC. I don't give a fuck about the IRGC. Okay? I don't give a fuck about the Ayatollah. I don't give a fuck about the IRGC. I mean, I think that they have put on a strong opposition against Israel in the region, and that's great, but that's totally separate from their domestic repression, okay? But I need you to understand, this is not about that. Your last opportunity to maintain a sovereign Iranian state is now in the hands of people that you have opposed, people that have jailed your family members, people that have tortured your family members. Your last shot at maintaining a sovereign state is now in the hands of the very same people that you fucking despise. Okay? That's it. I know it sounds insane. I know it sounds crazy. And you might think, oh, you're saying all of this because like you're fucking, pro Ayatollah or whatever. This is your best worst case scenario. Okay? There are only bad options here, bad ranging from catastrophic, like thermonuclear warfare options, which would be the maximum worst option. Okay, we go up the escalation ladder to the nuclear, like a tactical nuke being deployed. You know, that's obviously the worst option because it will destroy the entire planet. But the least bad out of all the catastrophic options you have, out of all the realistic ones at least, is that the Iranian government maintains its integrity, stays intact for a long enough time that the attrition kicks in, it becomes too costly for America, and Donald Trump cuts out the Israelis from the negotiation, and he tries to do like a Maduro thing with whoever the fuck is in charge still, okay? He tries to do a Delcy Rodriguez with like Ali Larjani or someone like that. And they're like, okay, we're pulling out. The energy markets have imploded. And all of my fucking capitalist friends are giving me phone calls every single day telling me to cut the shit out. And obviously the opposition internally is going to come from the ultra-Zionists, the Lindsey Grahams of the world, the pro-Israel Dick Riders of the world. But the competing forces there are, how much can Donald Trump molest the money? How much can American empire's integrity take a hit, take a massive fucking blow? And eventually, which side caves to the pressure? If it's the Iranian side that fucking falls apart, if it's the IRGC that falls apart, you are not going to get a secular liberal democracy out of that equation. You are not even going to have a fucking country to return to, okay? You're going to have a country that you desperately try to escape, and you are going to have, given the 90 million Iranians that live there of all different ethnic backgrounds. You are never going to be able to see your home again. You're never going to be able to cherish your culture again. You are going to have nothing. All of it will be reduced to rubble. You will have a balkanized state that is constantly waging war with one another, and it will turn into Libya. Okay? It's so crazy because we have seen it happen over and over again. And yet people still think this time it'll be fucking different. Technically not true of Masada's boots. No, Mossad is not going to have boots on the ground. They'll have people that are Iranian that they work with. They'll have their assets, but they're not going to fucking send. They're not going to send Israeli sons and daughters into Iran, okay? Get the fuck out of here. They never have. Why the fuck would they do it this time? It'll be different because Iranis actually want and ask for the USA to help. Not same for Libya and Iraq. So that's the big difference now. No, you don't know anything. Kurds W, USA W, Turks crying in the corner. Oh my God, you don't know anything. No, of course there were coalitions in Iraq that were also asking and demanding for intervention. What the fuck are you talking about? You're wrong. You just don't know anything about the history. You can only arrive at this position if you are utterly oblivious to the history of American empire in this fucking region. Jesus Christ. In the eyes of Israel, you are no different than a Palestinian, okay? They do not give a fuck about you. You are literally the same as Palestinians. The same as the Lebanese population living in southern Lebanon that has to fucking now move again because, you know, Israel has decided we're going to go in and we're going to take more Lebanese territory. I don't know why you can't understand this. America doesn't even give a fuck about its own service members. America doesn't even give a fuck about its own citizens living in the United States of America, its own taxpayers. And you're over here thinking, oh, but they give a fuck about me. You're stupid. Anyway, this plan includes no political guarantees for Kurds in Iran and no plan to keep Iran and Turkey from at least economically suffocating, at most militarily carving up Iraqi Kurdistan in response. Doesn't make sense for them to go along with it. But seemingly there's enough movement that they can claim that the Kurds are totally on board with this to once again make it seem like there is enough movement here. There's also this other side. Israel Hayom, another ethnic group waging sustained insurgencies, the Baluchis, a Sunni minority straddling the territories of Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, who seek self-determination and autonomy. The IRGC has in recent years conducted an unprecedented crackdown on the Baluchi minority. The central active organization on the Iranian side is Jaish al-Adl, which in December 2025 merged with the additional groups into the Popular Fighters Front and declared a broad struggle against the regime. The third ethnic minority in Iran with a history of armed resistance to the government is Arabs of the southern Khuzestan province, predominantly Shia Arabs whose population numbers more than 1.5 million. In 2022, large protests against Tehran's rule took place in the province, and clashes between Arab separatists and regime forces resulted in several deaths. Dilawar Karwan says, U.S. ground strategy is to foment Kurdish rebellion fielded by SDF veterans displaced from Syria and likely led by American commandos, all covered by U.S.-Israeli air power. Very worrying. IRGC would have to respond very hard to totally crush the rebellion. Straight out of the Iraq playbook, the formation of a no-fly zone over Kurdistan in Iraq was a key piece in the overthrow of the Ba'athist government. The Iranian Kurdish coalition, this is Ambedin Zaman, who writes for Al Monitor and The Economist. The Iranian Kurdish coalition is asking the United States to establish a no-fly zone over the Kurdish areas to provide air cover for potential future operations and, above all, to prove its commitment. And America will gladly offer that, by the way. Okay, Hasan, you absolutely have to stop ignoring the populations that speak from their perspectives. You have to listen. Yeah, you have to listen to idiot voices in idiot spaces. We have to give them space to spew bullshit. That's what equality is all about. Yeah. Yeah, you have to listen to MAGA voices. Excuse me, why are you not centering MAGA voices in this conversation? Excuse me, why are you not centering Israeli voices in this conversation? I don't know, because I don't give a shit. Because I'm looking at action and reaction. I'm looking at the results. I'm looking at what the intention is. And I know what the intention is. It's complete death and destruction for possibly hundreds of thousands of Iranians and tens of millions of Iranians displaced, never to be able to return to a place that they call home. That's what has happened over and over again, and that's what will inevitably happen here. How the fuck do we not see the same exact story, the same exact song and dance, sometimes the same exact fucking actors, and there are still people going, I don't know, maybe this time it's different. No, the fuck it's not. The biggest problem from the American side here, is straight up the fact that they just don't have an ISIS equivalent inside of Iran, because Iran has been very successful in eviscerating ISIS. Okay? If they had an ISIS equivalent inside of Iran, oh, it would be over. It'd be over in a fucking heartbeat. But they will. There will be an ISIS equivalent inside of Iran eventually. Sometime, maybe literally ISIS. You never know. ISIS-I, they might call it. Hasan, is it true that the Islamic Republic has completely cut off the internet communication path so people don't get pre-attack warnings? So many people I follow are posting this on their Insta story. It's saying that the Islamic Republic is trying to kill and harm Iran. Sounds like propaganda to me. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the internet is actually fully cut out in Iran at all, but maybe. Yeah, the I in ISIS actually doesn't stand for Islamic State, Israeli State.
Will be able to.
Yeah, this is the guy, like, this is the guy commanding the fucking forces, by the way. This is the attitude that he has. And a lot of dumb fucks still think that this is not, a lot of dumb fucks still think this is going to be positive for the Iranians, dude. Holy shit.
To do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets. Death and destruction from the sky all day long. We're playing for keeps. Our warfighters.
It's like epic Fortnite Chungus is what they're doing, while simultaneously they're like, it's anti-woke. We're actually invading Iran anti-woke style. It turns out the Ayatollah was woke, and we're destroying it. We're doing war, but this time we're war fighting in an anti-woke manner. All the previous reasons why we failed, quote unquote failed, obviously it was for, our capitalists didn't fail. It was fantastic for them, but we technically failed our objectives of like regime change or creating a stable, liberalized region, a secular republic, or whatever the fuck. They've always failed over and over again because that wasn't the real ambition at all. But this time it's different. This time we're casting aside all of the woke neocon liberalization attitudes. We're playing for keeps. We're going to fucking destroy the country. Heck yeah.
Have maximum authorities granted personally by the president and yours.
I'm going to give you.
The fuck is this? Hegz's presser makes clear he thinks Trump will win this simply by being anti-woke and prosecuting the war. They really believe in the magical power of anti-woke. Yeah. Yeah, our real war fighters, their dicks are hard. Our war fighters with their hard dicks are going to come in with their cocks locked and loaded, and they're going to fuck the ground. They're going to do it. Hell yeah. We're going to rape and pillage. Hoorah. Real war fighters are in charge, everybody. Let's fucking go. Anti-woke style. Anyway, as far as the talks or what's going on, there's also some suspicion that Trump might not be listening to Daddy all too much because he's obviously looking for a fucking exit ramp. CNN openly abides by Israeli military censorship. Oh my God, CNN accidentally confessed live on TV that a massive censorship Israel's doing damage in optics control. We're not showing you that because the Israeli government doesn't allow us to show where that may have come from.
We're not showing you that because we're not going to show
The Israeli government does not allow us or want us to show where that may have come up, that interceptor, but I've not one go up there.
Yeah. It's because their interceptors are fucking in civilian areas, obviously. That's the reason. But yeah, of course CNN abides by Israeli censors. What are you talking about? Anyone that covers news inside of Israel literally is telling you what the Israeli government is allowing you to see. I hope you understand that. These countries have complete these countries try to have complete narrative control in a heavily populated and densely populated area to the best of their fucking ability. And they do this all the time. In the first couple of days, if you recall, I showed you some of the impact sites. They had Israeli reporters on the ground doing English coverage because in the first couple of days, they wanted to garner sympathy. When they realized that they couldn't garner any sympathy whatsoever because everyone was like, we know you're a genocidal nation that's bloodthirsty and is trying to do the same thing you did to Gaza to Iran this time, says you. They went, okay, we shouldn't be showing the impact sites at all. We should actually hide it because it only makes it seem like Iran is actually reaching its targets. And it only shows the Iranian side that they're actually successfully striking the heart of fucking Tel Aviv or the heart of Jerusalem. Saudi former intel chief is saying Israel is why the U.S. is doing this. Yeah, everyone is saying Israel's doing this because, of course, that's it. That's the truth. It's hard to fucking look at this as anything but the truth. As you guys know, I have said over and over again that I am the number one guy for the American asset in the region, the aircraft theory. Okay, but this is an instance where it 100% is Israel's ambitions. That's it. We are following along Israel's ambitions, and we're expending billions of fucking dollars worth of assets in an effort to go along with what fucking Israel wants here.